When discussing operating a company vehicle, one of the first topics we want to touch on are blind spots. The illustration in front of you shows where the blind spots are in a typical cargo van without convex mirrors. The blind spots are the darker shaded areas, and it's shocking how much of the area around the vehicle is a blind spot. In fact, you'll notice that a whole car fits in the blind spot to the right of the vehicle. So let's identify these blind spots. First, you've got the one on the passenger side here. Then you've got the one on the driver's side. Additionally, there's a blind spot behind most cargo vans because in most cases, either cargo, bulkhead, or there may be the absence of windows, all that obscures the view behind the vehicle. Perhaps a little less well known is a blind spot directly in front of a vehicle for objects that are smaller in stature. So we're going to mention a couple of ways to work around these blind spots and operate a company vehicle safely. However, it should be noted that all of our vans are fitted with convex mirrors, which should eliminate some of these blind spots. We don't typically think of the area in front of us as having blind spots, but it can if an object is low enough and close enough to the front of our vehicle. Job sites are constantly changing. In fact, the area right in front of our driver has changed in the seconds it takes him to walk to the building in the background and come right back to his truck. The two men in the pickup have unloaded a generator and placed it right in our driver's blind spot. If he pulls forward without checking that blind spot, he'll run right over the generator. Okay, this is what we would prefer our driver do. There's our door. Now, instead of our driver walking directly to the van and getting in it and driving off, what we'd rather see him do is to walk around the van first to his door. That way he's had a chance to check all of the blind spots around the van, including the one right in front. Notice that our driver has gotten in the habit of checking that all doors are closed before moving from a parked position. Doing this requires that he walk around the vehicle, causing him to notice objects that may be in his blind spots. In this instance, our driver parks close to a metal riser for a fire hose connection. In doing so, he places the riser in his blind spot. The next slide illustrates how this is so. The red line indicates the driver's line of sight. Notice how the door blocks the driver's view of the metal riser. Forgetting the location of that metal riser, the driver wants to make a sharp right-hand turn as he leaves, causing the side of the van to come in contact with the metal riser. In this example, instead of walking directly to the driver's door, our driver walks around his van first to observe objects that may be in his blind spot. This way he can be sure to miss them as he pulls away from his parked position. When reversing or backing up, you're driving in your blind spots. For this reason, you should try to avoid reversing or backing up as much as possible. When there's a spotter available, someone should spot for you. When you must reverse, sight side backing is the safest technique. Because your field of vision is best on the left or driver's side of the vehicle, this is your sight side. For that reason, when you're backing up, you always want to turn your wheel so that you're backing into your field of vision. The next video clip demonstrates this technique. Our driver approaches the space so that it is on his driver's side or sight side. This way he can check for objects that may be in his way. He then turns the wheel counterclockwise or left and begins to slowly back into the area that he has just viewed. Notice that he's cautious and makes good use of his mirrors. Distracted driving is a leading cause of traffic accidents. This driver learned that the hard way. This crash involved 3 vehicles and was caused by distracted driving. Because text messaging requires visual, manual, and cognitive attention from the driver, it is by far the most alarming distraction. 5 seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while text messaging. The link to the following video clip. Understand, it is against the law and company policy to message while driving. Many of us receive messages while driving. If you receive a message while you're driving, what should you do? If you receive a message while driving and must respond to it immediately, safely pull off the road before doing so. Anytime a company vehicle is involved in a traffic incident, no matter how severe or minor, whether on-site or off-site, the police must be notified. Additionally, you should immediately notify our office. Company vehicles are used to move materials and equipment. When trailering equipment, load distribution is very important. The load on the trailer should be distributed so that between 10 and 15% of the gross weight is over the hitch ball. Too much weight in front of the trailer axles will cause the front end of the tow vehicle to become too light and will negatively affect steering and braking. Eventually, the trailer will begin to sway. Too much weight behind the trailer axles will cause the rear of the tow vehicle to become too light. With the trailer teeter-tottering on its suspension, the trailer will begin to sway and can cause the vehicle to fishtail out of control. Veteran operators recommend putting a reference mark on the trailer once you find the sweet spot for the equipment you're hauling. In this photo, a faded mark lines up with the hub on a mini excavator. Make sure you're using the correct size hitch ball. The size on the hitch ball should match the size indicated on the trailer coupler. Okay, let's talk about vehicle maintenance. Vehicle drivers are responsible for checking fluid levels at least once a week. That's engine coolant, oil, and transmission fluid. If you have any questions regarding how you should check the fluid levels in your vehicle, speak to anyone in fleet maintenance. You should stop operating the vehicle immediately and contact the fleet manager if the check engine light appears. Think of this as a call fleet manager light.